Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a potential wildcard draft for Double Game Week 23, which covers Double Game Week 23, Blank Game Week 25, and Blank Game Week 28. So if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 50 likes. Leave a comment. Are you thinking of wildcarding? Subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, should you be wildcarding in Double Game Week 23? Again, there's not really any right or wrong answer. It's completely team dependent. A lot of people have players that they do want to get rid of straight away, like Martinelli. They'll have like a lot of Brentford players, they'll have a lot of Brighton players, a lot of Newcastle players, a lot of United players, and they just don't have enough transfers to get rid of all these players that are going to be blanking in Game Week 25 without using hits and stuff. So, in order to not have to take loads of hits, you probably want to be wildcarding around now. But again, if you can easily get to blank Game Week 25 with a full 10 or 11, you probably should hold off on playing your wildcard. But let's say you want to play it this week. This is a team that I've come up with that kind of just covers all bases, like all Game Week 23, 25, 28 problems. In goal, we do have Kepa and Ward. Feel like a broken record with how many times I've used these two on a wildcard draft, but they are just the best two options as of right now. Ward's there just for the backup and a playing 4 mil keeper. Kepa doesn't blank in 25, doesn't blank in 28, and has some really nice fixtures coming up. West Ham and Southampton in the next two, and then after the Spurs away game has Leeds and Leicester. So really nice fixtures coming up for Kepa, and again, as I say, doesn't blank in 25, doesn't blank in 28. So if you are thinking of bringing in a keeper right now, he is arguably the best option. Also on the back of 29 points from the last 3 game weeks as well. Really good form. Chelsea have turned it around. He loves getting bonus points as well because of how much they pass it out at the back. So yeah, Kepa I really like as an option right now. So if you're on a wildcard draft, I feel like he has to be nailed in that goalkeeper spot. So they're the goalkeepers. The back line consists of Tarkowski, Gabriel, Mings, Ake, and Trippier. So again, a very different back line to what you're probably used to seeing at this point in the season. We've got an Everton player there, we've got a Villa player there, we've got a player who's obviously going to blank in Game Week 25, and then I brought in Gabriel and Ake. So Tarkowski is there, obviously has a double in 25, also does not blank in 28, and he is probably the best defender you could bring in. A lot of people still have Patterson that they haven't really got rid of yet. I'm one of those people. I'm kind of just waiting for an update. He should be fine in the next like 1 or 2 weeks, and if that is the case, then the problem is, does he get back into the starting 11? I think Coleman was the captain for Dyche's first game, and he likes experienced players. So whether he gets back into the game or the team or not, I'm not sure. I'd like him to be back now because then we could see him if he gets into the Liverpool game, and then we could see if he gets into the Leeds game. And if he starts both of those games, then I probably wouldn't have to make the transfer from like Patterson to Tarkowski or something like that. But I think he's just a much safer option, and he's only 0.3 more if you are in a wildcard draft, and he's got that aerial threat as well. So yeah, Tarkowski I think is a really good option to have on a wildcard this week. Gabriel as well, I like him more than a Ben White option just because Ben White is prone to being subbed early. That could be helpful in the way that if he does pass 60 minutes and then he gets subbed and then they concede, you will still keep the clean sheet. But if he does get subbed at like half time or like the 50th minute or 55th minute, it's not really too good. Gabriel is a sure starter. You know he's going to play every single game. He is a bit more expensive. He also has that aerial threat as well. So yeah, if you aren't too comfortable with Ben White at the moment, I would go with Gabriel. Mings is in there just because he doesn't blank in Game Week 25. He doesn't blank in Game Week 28. Yes, he doesn't have great fixtures coming up with City and Arsenal, but you're not going to play him in those game weeks anyway. He doesn't have a double yet, but that could easily happen. He's only 4.3 mil. And yeah, Villa seem to be, I know they just lost 4-2, but all in all, they are a better side under the new manager. But yeah, he's in there just because he doesn't blank in Game Week 25 and 28. Ake's in there because he doubles in Game Week 23, has Forest and Bournemouth after that. Again, there is a lot of heavy rotation in the City squad, but Ake, out of all the defenders, seems to be the most nailed at the moment. So he's the player that I've gone with for that double game week for the City defense. And then Trippier has to be in the team. I know he blanks, and he's also got Liverpool and City in the next 4, but he has a really good fixture in Game Week 28. I think he plays Forest, and so you want him for that game. He obviously has Bournemouth this week, and then you can just bench him for the blank. I mean, you're going to play him at Liverpool at home as well because Liverpool aren't great at the moment. And so, yeah, that is the back line there. I think this is a pretty decent back line. This also has 3.8 mil in the bank, by the way, which is a lot of money for a wild card to like have unspent, but there's reasons for it, and I like having a lot of money in the bank because if there are massive problems that crop up, you can easily sort them out. 3.8 might be a little bit of an overkill, but I just really like this draft, and it just kind of targets all the problems, and you've still got a lot of money in the bank. So, I mean, it's, I guess, all right. But either way, that's the back line. In the midfield, we have Ødegaard, we've got Saka, we've got Mahrez, we've got Rashford, and we've also got Bailly as well. So Ødegaard and Saka, I think, are two of the best Arsenal players to have right now. Jesus is back in training. I don't know if he's back in full training, and so that makes Nketiah a little bit of a doubt. Again, I don't think Jesus is going to be back into the starting 11 over the next 3 or 4 weeks, but I think after that, when we are getting to around game week 26, maybe 27, 28, where you do need your Arsenal players to be playing like every single game, especially because of like the blanks and stuff, that could be where he becomes a little bit of a doubt. So I don't think it's really worth taking that risk as of right now. I know his stats are really, really good at the moment, but it just saves you that problem later down the line. And I think Gabriel, Saka, and Ødegaard are still really, really good Arsenal options to have. They're all nailed. They're all going to be playing 90 minutes most games. Saka potentially still on penalties. It depends if Jorginho is on the pitch when they take one. We still haven't seen what happens in that situation. And yeah, and it gives you it solves your Martinelli problem, everything like that. So Saka, Ødegaard, and Gabriel, I think, are three, if not the three best Arsenal assets to own right now. Mahrez is in this team just simply because we can't afford De Bruyne, even with 3.8 mil in the bank. But I still like Mahrez as a nice option anyway. I don't think KDB would be benched in the next 4 or 5 fixtures at all. I think he's going to play every single one. Again, he just usually isn't played against a back 5, which none of those teams coming up are. But his numbers haven't been too good to warrant that 12.4 price tag. Mahrez, I know, did get subbed off on like the 58th minute or whatever, but he did hit the crossbar. If that went in, I think everybody would be bringing Mahrez in this week. But I think he's a decent option to attack the double. They've then got Forest and Bournemouth coming up, and so hopefully he is going to be starting all those games. I mean, Grealish is also an option as well, because Pep's comments about Grealish were really, really positive, and Grealish has been starting a lot of games, so you could even go for a little bit of a differential and go for Grealish instead, who seems to be starting quite a bit more. If I actually go to Grealish, I'm not 100% sure what his minutes are actually like. I just know that Pep's been like really, really good, really positive about him. So his history in the last few game weeks, yeah. So he's played 90 in the last 3, which is interesting because in the games that he played 30 and 33, he actually got returns, and then he didn't get returns in the games that he played the full 90. But his numbers have actually been quite nice: 72, 86. I mean, the 30 and the 33 aren't great, but then 90, 90, 90. So he could be an option. You know, I mean, Mahrez's minutes are a little bit better, I think. He's had 58, 80, 90, 90, 30, 90, 87. So yeah, they're kind of a little bit around the same. But I like Mahrez's goal threat a little bit more. But that's why he's in the team. Rashford is in there for a no-brainer. Again, you're going to be benching these 2 players in Game Week 25, Rashford and Trippier. But we've also gone Bailly as well, just simply because of the same situation as Mings. Doesn't blank in 25, doesn't blank in 28. And then you can easily start getting rid of them after, like, the blanks as well. Like, maybe start bringing in a Newcastle player for one of the defenders or something, because Newcastle do have that Game Week 28 fixture against Forest, which, again, is probably going to be a clean sheet for Forest, for Newcastle. But either way, we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So that's the midfield, and then up top we do have Mitrovic, we have Haaland, and then we've got Kane. So I think Kane is just like, again, people are just not realizing how good of a season he's having. You know, he scored like 17 Premier League goals this season, which is ridiculous. It's just because Haaland's a bit of a machine, which is why he's going under the radar a little bit. But yeah, Kane, I think, should be a must in a lot of wildcard teams. He's got really nice fixtures coming up. He does blank in 28, but at the same time, his fixtures are just so good, and he's just on penalties, and his numbers are ridiculous this season, and that's with Spurs playing badly as well. So yeah, I really think Kane is an option on most teams that are wildcarding, more than like De Bruyne and stuff like that. And I know he doesn't have a double coming up, but I just feel like you can't go without Kane. He just always returns. And then Haaland's on there, just, you know, it's Haaland. And then I've got Mitrovic as well. Now, this could be, because there's no Liverpool players in this draft, which is a little bit of a problem because they do double in 25. The reason for that is I've got Mitrovic over Darwin Núñez, and, you know, you can easily get to Núñez if you want to, and again, you can have Núñez in this side if you want to. But over the next 2 fixtures before the Game Week 25 double, Mitrovic has Forest at home and then Brighton away, where Darwin Núñez has Everton at home and then Newcastle away. I don't fancy Liverpool against Newcastle away at all. I don't think they're going to score in that game. Everton at home, I think they will score, but again, they've been so poor lately, anything can happen in the game, and Dyche obviously just beat Arsenal. Whereas Mitrovic has Forest at home, which again is a really nice fixture. I know Forest are a little bit better at the back now, but our away form is terrible. Mitrovic should still be on penalties, and I just think he's going to go big in that game. And then he's got Brighton away as well, so you kind of have to compare the two of Forest at home and Brighton away against Everton at home and Newcastle away, with Mitrovic being on penalties and Darwin Núñez not being on penalties. Also, Fulham have been playing well lately. Liverpool haven't. But if you don't want to take that transfer down the line, because obviously you will have to get rid of Mitrovic for Darwin Núñez, you could just easily bring him in now, and it will save you that transfer, especially if you have other problems that you think you're going to need like later on down the line. You still have 2 mil in the bank, and that would be the kind of the wildcard draft that you sort of go into game week 23 with. So again, if you want to go Darwin, it does save you a transfer. I like the fixtures of Forest and Brighton away better than Everton at home and Newcastle away, but that's just me. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with bringing in Darwin Núñez, and again, it does save you a transfer. He's not on penalties, but that would be around the wildcard draft that I would kind of sort out. And then after the game week 25 blank, that's when you can start getting rid of maybe like an Ake for another Newcastle defender, because obviously Newcastle don't blank in 28, and they've got like, after the City game, they've got like Wolves and then Forest or whatever. So yeah, that's when you start kind of sorting your team out ready for game week 28, because you've got a lot of players in here that don't blank in 28, like Kepa doesn't blank, Tarkowski doesn't blank, Gabriel, Mings, Trippier, Odegaard, Saka, Bailly doesn't blank, and then yeah, so you can easily sort your team out. But anyway, that's the wildcard draft that I've come up with. Again, Mitrovic and Darwin is completely up to you, but everyone else, I think, is a pretty nice pick in all these different positions. Kind of targets all the problems coming up in the next few game weeks. It saves you from taking all those hits. So yeah, if you like this draft, let me know. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. It's everything from me. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.